Hello everyone, I'm Ravali Gourishetti, a postdoctoral researcher from the Haptic Intelligence Department at the Max Planck Institute for Intelligent Systems. Today I'm here to talk about my research and the projects that I work on at MPI. And my main project is on teaching sensorimotor skills for healthcare applications with haptic technology. Coming to what is haptics, I think most of you already know, but I would like to give a brief introduction. Haptics is for the science for the sense of touch, and it could be classified into kinesthetic and tactile cues. Like if you look at this person trying to fill the glass fill the water from the jug, you can see that his right hand is experiencing the forces from the tendon and the ligament, and also experiences the muscle length and velocity, whereas his left hand, which is holding the glass, would be experiencing the vibrations caused when the water is being poured into the glass, and he can feel the temperature, the contact location, the stretch in the skin, and the slip while holding the glass. And that would be into tactile cues. Most of my PhD have worked on using kinesthetic feedback, and at MPI I've been working on using tactile feedback and specifically looking at the vibration feedback. So, my interest is in healthcare, so I'm trying to use this haptic technology for healthcare applications, which I would classify into diagnosis and treatment. Again, treatment would be surgical ways and rehabilitation, and medical teaching is required for all these medical procedures. So I classify them using haptic technology for these 4 categories. And my main research, which I've so far worked on, is on medical teaching, for which we have developed a new technology for recording and replaying the information of the tool interactions. Our recording system included the 3 modalities: the visual modality, where we record the first-person view and the third-person view. And for the auditory, we record the sound from the interactions that are caused between the tool and the object. In this case, it's the dissection of a pig kidney, so it's with the kidney tissues, and also the expert's narration, where the expert is trying to explain how the task has to be performed and what are the steps involved in the task. And we attach a 3-axis small accelerometer to record the vibrations during these interactions. We then combine and synchronize this data from the 3 modalities and replay them to the trainee. As you can see, the trainee has a similar tool with an actuator attached for feeling what the expert feels, and the trainee would be watching and seeing and hearing to what the expert hears and sees through a laptop. And during this, we had these 3 basic questions on where exactly do we have to place this sensor to effectively capture the vibrations. And the second question is, what type of actuator could be replaying the realistic vibrotactile cues? And the third is, does mimicking has an impact on teaching? Because if you look at the video, the trainee is trying to mimic her movements along with the expert's movements. So to answer these, I think my presentation is on these 3 questions. To effectively capture these clinically relevant vibration cues without disrupting the procedure, we are trying to see, this study aims to find the optimal location that could be good for placing the sensor to capture the vibrations, for which I've collaborated with Gyokan, a research scientist. And we have modeled a neurosurgical spatula tool using finite element, and we are trying to optimize or maximize the frequency response displacements and see if we could find some worst and best positions of the sensor locations on the tool. And this is an ongoing project. The next question which I talked about is the actuator, for which we developed a new vibrotactile actuation approach using a DC motor, and which we called as rotating motor actuator. For this, we attached the shaft of the DC motor to the stylus, which is held by the user to perceive the vibrotactile cues. And we provided an AC input to this DC motor, because of which the motor cannot make a complete rotation and thus vibrates, and which would be felt as vibrations onto the user's fingers by holding it. We then looked at the characteristics of the actuator, which is like by providing an input current signal, and we observed that it has a high bandwidth from about 10 hertz to 390 hertz, which is a good thing, which is in the range for human sensitivity. And also one great advantage we found is that there is no spring element, so there is no resonance, and it has a linear or a static vibration response for a larger bandwidth. And yeah, I'm not showing you the results, but then we evaluated this DC motor with an available actuator that's available in the market, and then we found that this is pretty much matching well, and also it felt more realistic in terms of the vibration feel and also the sound that could be heard from the actuator. And the third aspect which I talked is like, does mimicking has an impact, for which we have conducted with our recording system. We have been recording from different crafts and arts people, where like you could see two examples here. We were trying to record the information in the three modalities and see if passively watching these videos and maybe imagining that you are performing the task, and the third case is like you're trying to mimic along with the expert's motion, would they have an impact in teaching these sensory motor skills? And these three conditions, with and without haptic feedback, was our 6 conditions. So we had these 6 different, although currently we had 5. So we are in the process of recording the last, from the last participant. So we are using these recordings to play them to the novice and see if one of these conditions, if there is any significant difference, and if so, which of these conditions could have an impact in teaching these sensory motor skills. And to look at the future directions, I've mostly worked on teaching so far, and I would be interested in working on the other 3 procedures which I talked about. And so far I've worked on kinesthetic and tactile individually, but I would like to combine them together. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.